Hi friends, welcome to the very first episode of the ABCs, Artists, Books and Cafes. I'm Anu and this show is dedicated to our appreciation for artists whose talents make us go wow, for the love of books whose pages we can't stop turning, and for the love of cafes where ideas brew as strong as a cup of coffee. Today, we are at Atta Galatta in Koramangala, Bangalore. This place has emerged as the quintessential heart of this creative city. This bookstore cafe, which opened in 2013, has quickly become a hub for literature and art enthusiasts and proudly promotes talent across the spectrum. Atta Galatta, the name, is a play of words that refers to a kind of fun and sporting nature and promotes creativity and culture. I think you can see why. Here at Atta Galatta, we have many sections with special emphasis on Indian literature. A lot of activities take place at this cafe, like theatre, poetry reading, book launches, kids activities. On the off chance, if you don't want to attend any of these events, just drop in for a cup of coffee and read your favorite book. For our very first episode, we have one of the most interesting literary personalities in Bangalore. She is a poet, a writer, an organizing member of the Bengaluru Poetry Festival and the editor of the Bangalore Review. Let's welcome Maitreyee Bhattacharjee Chowdhury.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure having you here. So Maitreyee, we'll begin with the author side of you. So tell me, was being a writer always part of the plan?
Yeah, it was. I always wanted to be a writer. I've been writing since I was in school. Writing, of course, scribbling at that time.
Okay.
But I started writing when I was in college for college magazines and various literary clubs and all that. But it was, always part of the plan.
So who were your biggest inspirations?
While we were small, as kids, I think everybody's inspiration is an enlightenment. We all grow up to an enlightenment, and as you graduate, there are different writers who come in your life, make it special, and teach you to dream about words, dream with words, and being enamored by the whole act of writing and living a life through words. So there are so many of them, and much later in life, of course, I think as your perspectives also change, the people whom you've grown to idolize at that particular sphere in your life also change when you go into, when you come through different ages in your life. So naming just one or two might not be the ideal situation right now. But there have been so many, far too many inspirations.
That I can understand that. So who are you reading right now?
I'm somebody who does not read one book at a time. So I'm reading one book which is an anthropological study on Bedouins. The other book I'm reading is a book by a script writer of Peter Brooks's Mahabharata. The third book that I'm reading is a book of poetry by Buchanti Sonam, who's a Tibetan poet. So I'm reading all these three
Quite
books.
a lot.
All these three. I like, sometimes for my bedtime reading, poetry is good for me. Sometimes for a morning reading, something else is good for me. So I take it like that.
So could you tell us a little bit more about your work and what prompted you towards that?
My first book was on Uttam Kumar and Suchitra Sen and Bengali regional cinema. So I tried to do a comparison between parallel cinema and commercial cinema in the 60s in Bengal, and with Uttam Kumar and Suchitra Sen as the main characters. nothing has been written in English about Uttam Kumar and Suchitra Sen, so I thought it would be a good idea, and the book did very well. It was published by Om Books and it went on to do very well. My second book is a book of poems. I was in Banaras for quite a while in between, around 2012. And I was walking all over Banaras, and I didn't know at that time that I would be writing a book of poems. But it so happened that I was scribbling poetry all over my diary while I was walking around in Banaras, and that eventually led to a book. It's called Where Even the Present is Ancient, Banaras. It's the poems are about love, life, and death mostly, set in the space of Banaras.
So, Banaras as a city has been a source of inspiration for many works like this.
Yeah.
How was your experience of being there and the poetry that you wrote?
Banaras is fantastic. My father told me as a child, you haven't seen India if you haven't seen Banaras. So when I had this time to go and explore a little bit on my own, I chose to go to Banaras. And the Banaras that you see as an artist is very different from the Banaras, I suppose, that one sees on a day-to-day basis. The colors, the excitement, the little rituals and everything else makes it the beauty that it is. So I guess, like you mentioned, a lot of other artists have been inspired by Banaras, and so it was with me.
Yes. Okay. So, as a writer and a poet, what is your process of writing?
I'm a very instinctive writer, if I can put it that way, and I find it very difficult to write about things that I don't personally relate to. I have to personally be deeply involved in the thought process of that particular subject in order to be able to do a good job of writing about that. So if you see whether it's Uttam Kumar and Suchitra Sen films, I grew up with Uttam Kumar and seeing films of Uttam Kumar and Suchitra Sen. So that personal connect always has to be there. So with Banaras also the same thing. I was just walking around in Banaras. So for me, writing is that deep connect, and I go about it instinctively. But of course, having said that, writing is also about a craft. It's a craft, and you first tell a story, and then you start assimilating it in a beautiful manner. It's like making a 7-course meal. You have your basics of the basic food in place, and then you have your salad, you have your dessert, you have the other fringe decoration part of it. Writing a book is something like that. So you go about the basics, and then other than the editing, there are other fringe elements that you add to it, which make it a beautiful, sum up of the whole thing.
So, what time of the day do you prefer to write? Is it like an early morning or late at night or through the day?
There's no particular timing. I write whenever I feel like writing. Whenever I have these bursts of emotions when I want to write, then I must write. I might be in the middle of something also, even then I start scribbling it down on my phone and I must write down those lines. But otherwise, I do have a scheduled time of I have a little bit of peace to myself in the house when everybody is away during the daytime, so I prefer writing during that time.
Okay. How do you deal with writer's block?
It's very difficult. I'm going through one myself right now. I'm in the stage where I've come out after 4 years of research of this book, and the book is out, and I'm totally clueless about how to go about my next project. It's such a pain. Only a writer can understand this, because it's like you know what to do, but you can't do it for some reason. It's like a headache, you had a pill, but it won't go away. It's like you want to sleep, but you're not getting sleep. It's very painful, and I'm going through it right now. I can't describe how painful it is for me, because I want to write. There are so many things I'm just ticking off the box. I want to write, but I'm not being able to do it because somewhere I think I have to let go of the other book. So, yeah.
So tell us about your latest book.
My latest book is called The Hungry Alice. Yeah, that's it. Hungry Alice is published by Penguin, and it came out in 2019, and it's a book about a poetry revolution set in the 1960s in Bengal. So a band of young poets and writers from Bengal decided to revolt against the establishment and revolt against all sorts of casteism, classism, elitism, and use poetry as a tool to speak about all of that. This, unfortunately and surprisingly, this movement has never been documented before. So my story talks about this movement primarily, but it also talks about a lot of other things like the 1962 war. The background is the setting of the 1962 war, and I tried to set a backdrop where this movement happened. So 1962 war, the poverty, the partition, the refugees, all of that play as the background of the book. And we also have beat poet Allen Ginsberg, who had come to India at that time and mingled with the poets in India. So we also have his journey looked at from the Indian side, the Indian viewpoint, which has not been done before. The other side has been done. People have written tons and tons about Allen Ginsberg coming to India, what he felt, what he did here, and etc., etc. But what the Indians felt, how they mixed with him, what came about that intermingling has not been written before. This is what is there in the book. So, but other than poetry, about talking about poetry, I also talk about a lot of other things like the lack of Bengali sexual behavior, the sense of frustration amongst the youth in Bengal, the politics in Bengal, the world politics at that time, and so much more. So it's for non-poetry lovers can also read the book. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's a narrative non-fiction, which means that there have been some creative elements which have been imbibed in the book, so that it's more readable and it's not typically boring, dry non-fiction.
Okay. So speaking about youth, like you just mentioned, for a lot of youngsters, writing has gone from being a mere hobby to being a profession now. Any word of advice for such youngsters?
I think one word of advice I would really like to give is that before you become a writer, be a thinker. The act of writing is not only in picking up a pen and writing, or writing a few words on the computer. It's about a mental space. It's about what goes on in your mind that comes out. And more than ever, I think the world needs thinkers. And the other thing, of course, is that read. Read as much as you can. You can read trash, you can read average books, you can read good books, you can read mediocre books, but please don't stop reading, or please don't start writing before you read anything. I hear about a lot of people who say very proudly, I don't read anything, I only write. Okay, perhaps that's your way of doing things, but it would be nice if you could read. So that's my advice.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and explore the non-author side of Maitreyee and see what kind of a person she is. Maitreyee, we'll begin with the first segment, which is a game called Word Up. Now I'll throw a word at you and you have to give me a name of any book or author that first comes to your mind. Okay. So are you ready for this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, then let's begin. So your first word is honest.
A writer whom I associate with honesty is Emily Dickinson, I think. I find her poems extremely honest. So yeah.
Alright. So the next word is bold.
Allen Ginsberg. He was very bold for his times. So yeah, Allen Ginsberg.
Okay. What about bizarre?
I think I'd say Henry Miller. For his book Tropic of Cancer. It's the most bizarre thing I've read, and if you read the book, you'll find out it's honest, it's weird, it's mad, it's a lot of things. So
Okay.
yeah.
What about funny?
P.G. Woodhouse.
Okay. Yes, I think a lot of people would associate funny with him. Love.
Keats. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Hate.
I don't associate literature with hate. I think even if there's some bitterness, it's not hate. I would like to say.
Okay. What about memorable?
So many of the poets. Agashantali, Sylvia Plath. Memorable, definitely.
Okay. And all-time favorite.
Jivanananda.
And why is that?
For the sheer simplicity of the man. And Jivanananda's works are, to me, what literature should be. The perfect communication with the reader in the most simple of words.
Okay. I think we got a lot of choices here for our next read. Thank you, Maitreyee. Thank you. So in our next segment, which is the rapid fire quiz, I'll throw some questions at you, then you have to pick one of the two choices. Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
Alright then. What's your favorite drink? Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Why is that?
I'm from Assam, so I'm a tea lover.
Okay. What's your favorite view? Mountains or beaches?
Mountains.
Alright. Where do you like to write? Home or some cafe?
A bit of both. I like the buzz in the cafe. I like seeing people come in and go and doing the different things. It inspires me.
Okay. Fiction or non-fiction? Your favorite?
Non-fiction. I don't read much of fiction.
Okay. What do you prefer as a medium of entertainment? Movies or theatre?
Both. Can I have both? Both.
Of course.
Theatre is so live. I mean, but movies is so brilliant. I mean, where would people without movies?
Okay. If you could have one of these, what would you prefer? Tattoos or piercings?
Tattoos. I'm planning to get one. So
Alright. And do you have something in mind?
yeah, I want. It's a Latin phrase called Alice volat propris, which means she flies on her own wings.
That's beautiful. Okay. So, what do you prefer, books or ebooks?
Books, always books. I know this is about trees, environment, and all that, but I'm sorry, I'm too old school. It'll have to go with books.
Okay. And you had to pick just one, what would it be? Money, love, art, or fame?
Love. That is the only reason to survive. Always love.
Okay. Alright. I think you're an amazing sport and this was wonderful.
Thank you.
So let's move on to the last segment of this interview. If not, then what?
Okay.
Are you set for this?
Sure.
Alright. So Maitreyee, if not a writer, what would you be?
Probably a dancer. I was a dancer once.
Okay. And your preferred form of dance?
Anything. Dancing makes me happy. So, I mean, it could. I was a classical dancer,
Okay.
but it could be anything.
That's lovely. If not in Bangalore, where would you like to settle?
In the mountains, some small village in the mountains.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. If not in India, then what country would you prefer to settle?
Maybe Burma or Vietnam.
Okay. All right. Okay. If you're not at home, where would your loved ones find you?
On the roads. I'm always on the roads, walking and writing.
Okay. And if you're at home, what would you be doing at most times?
Gardening.
Okay.
I love gardening.
All right. Yes, so Maitreyee, that is it. Thank you so much for such wonderful answers, and it was wonderful to speak with you.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
Please tell me about Atta Galatta. What do you feel about this place?
Ever since I've been to Bangalore, Atta Galatta has been second home to me. Lakshmi and Subodh, like family, they're so warm and welcoming, and this is a space that allows readers to come in and read and do their own thing. I wish more spaces like this existed all over India. It's a very warm place, not only for reading, they have so many other events going on, like theatre or children's programs, and the format is fantastic. I've been to other cities to launch my book, but I always miss the warmth of Atta Galatta, and especially the coffee. Coffee is to die for.
Is there anything special on the menu that you love to eat?
Yeah, they have a fantastic grilled chicken sandwich, which is very nice. Mushroom grilled chicken sandwich. It's very nice and a must try for everyone out here. So, cheers to Atta Galatta and the coffee.
So friends, this was Atta Galatta. Next time you're in Kormangla, Bangalore, do drop in and have a great time.